the great men and women of God who lived by faith, who walked by faith, who operated in faith. Look, you can see all this here where it says, by faith, blank did blank, right? By faith, blank did blank. All these men and women who did something because they heard a word from God, they believed that word, again, envisioned that happening. So because of that, they walked in a certain direction, made certain decisions because of what they heard, and they believed it, right? If they didn't believe it, then they wouldn't have walked in a certain direction. But because they believed what God said, it made them do different things than they would have if they were just going in the natural. You see that? That's why when 2 Corinthians 5:7 says, for we, who's we? We as believers in Jesus, for we walk by faith, not by sight. Some translations say we live by faith, not by sight. That's a really powerful statement. It's saying that your belief dictates or should dictate your life decisions. What you believe should dictate your life decisions, not what you see. So the world, that's completely opposite of what the world says. They say what you see, what you feel, what you smell, those things are determined. The physical senses, that is determining where you're walking and how you're living. Right? I think the best example for this, I love this example, is if, I call it the perfect job example, where if you were in need of a new job, and then all of a sudden this perfect job comes out of nowhere. It's the perfect job with the perfect people, the perfect salary, your perfect work arrangement, everything's perfect. You work from home if you want, whatever you want, it's the perfect job, and you're in need of a job. So if you're walking by sight or by your senses, you're saying, wow, that's the perfect job. How can I ever say no to that? How can I turn that down? It's perfect because you're walking by sight, right? And that sounds like a normal thing the world would perfectly do. However, if we're believers and we're spending time with God, private time, and while we're praying about this thing, we get this uneasiness about this job, even though it looks perfect. If we're getting uneasiness about it, and you're not at peace about it, the Spirit's trying to warn you, or even straight up you hear from the Holy Spirit, don't take that job, well then all of a sudden this decision comes into play. Faith. Are you going to believe what you just heard God say, or are you going to believe what you see? How it looks perfect. You have a decision to make. The world's going to pick how it looks. But if you believe God, if you have faith in His Word, you have to understand He's trustworthy, and if He's telling you that, that decision is much better than anything else anyway. Right? You never know what could have happened to that job. You never know if the job is going to go out of business, right? If the company's going to go out of business, or what's happening, or if there's been an accident there, or even better yet, if you're thinking about heavenly perspective, you never know if there's another job that you need to be at because somebody there needs to hear the gospel, and that's infinitely more important, right? So you never know what's going on behind the scenes in terms of these things. So if you hear something from God, you've got to go that direction. But again, you see how you're walking by faith, you're living by faith. It's telling you, it's getting you to walk in a different direction. You're making a different decision than you would have if you were going by sight, right?